Well, some of the very best anglers I have ever fished against in tournaments have really schooled me by fishing this type of structure when the conditions are really tough. And by some of those tough conditions, I could be referring to fast rising water, low water conditions, or when you just absolutely can't get a bite anywhere else. Not every body of water has this type of structure, but usually you can find something that is similar, and those are bluff banks, straight vertical seawalls that have some depth to them, or also a very complex pier system, dock system with these big piers, most often found around commercial type of docking situations that have some depth to them. So those three things I really love when I'm completely baffled by anything else, and that is because those bass can go up and down and get comfortable, find a depth that they prefer with covering zero water horizontally. Let's talk about high water conditions, flood conditions, or when that water is really starting to rise quickly. I try to avoid the endless expanse of hundreds or thousands of acres of new stuff that is flooded. Some anglers are excellent at doing that and finding where those fish are, but I feel they spread out way too much. Well, if you have a high water situation going on in those, and you can find that steep vertical structure, like I said, whether it's piers or seawalls or a hard bluff bank, man, those bass just go up and they just stay right there next to it, and it's so efficient to find them and fish them. And the cool thing is there's a lot of people that kind of ignore it, so you might have this type of structure all to yourself. My favorite technique for targeting bass that are sitting here is with a jig. I like to take a jig and just pitch it right up there to this structure, hit that seawall, let it drop down, hit that bluff bank, let it drop down. But the focus has to be on feeding that slack line. So go ahead and pitch it out there, and you want to keep feeding that slack line and let it drop as close to vertical along that structure as you can. Now it takes a little bit of time to get that bite dialed in, right? To figure out what that bite is, because most often your line's just going to stop sinking. You probably won't feel it. You might see a little twitch in the line. You got one, boom, go ahead and set that hook. I also like to use a weighted wacky rig in this situation, but my favorite is a jig, but a Texas rig also can work really well. And as a matter of fact, if you want to watch a video about something that we often overlook or don't often take the time to adjust, go ahead and check this one out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.